Elden Ring's DLC Shadow of the Erdtree does have a progression system storyline. A lot of people in my community, on my streams, and so on has been saying the game's a little too complicated for them to understand how it works. So today we're going to take you through the full process. This is not going to have any boss fights to not show you, spoil that. And it's not going to talk about the story too much. I do have a couple of quests that we'll add in there, but I'll break it down in a second when it comes to quest. Let's just look at the map so you guys can see this and take a screenshot to start off with, because this is basically the progression. Shout out to Jay for this. It starts off right in the center where you spawned in, and you head over to number 2, then 3, and so on. I'm going to do a walkthrough video of actual gameplay so you can know how to move and go. But this map to me is easier because that means you can just have fun exploring and figuring things out, fighting bosses and figuring it on your own. But in my video, I will be showing locations, explaining things in detail, and breaking it down as well. So take a moment, take a screenshot, and also just relax and rewind and play this. I'm going to be doing commentary casually throughout this video as we go. All right, before we get started, if you just bought the game, you have to beat Ronin and Mohg. Mohg is in this location. We're not going to talk about this. I have a video breaking that down, but this is how you access the DLC right in this boss fight. After you get to the boss fight, you're going to go in here, touch his hand, and then go to the Shadow Realm. And this is where we will begin our video breakdown, giving you guys the best possible guide in the game. All right, so lock in. Let's have some fun and enjoy. So in the beginning, like I said, I'm not going to do any spoilers for the bosses fights. They are quests, a lot of them. You don't have to do them all, but the more people you have on your side, the better the ending is. So I'm going to show you 2 of the main ones, and then we'll go from there as we continue. So when you start off, you'll end up moving up north, and you're going to stop right here just to have a quick conversation, plus always picking up your fragments. As I said, this is one of the most important things. I have a video breaking that down in detail to max yourself out and be as strong as humanly possible. It's going to help you tremendously. Number one way to go to get yourself higher rank and to deal with things. And just to kind of explain that, you go in here, you power up. The game will show you what level you are. There's 20 of them. I have all the information on how high level you go. As you can see, the stats will end up boosting you up. So that's very critical because the DSL is hard, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. All right. So then after that, you're going to talk with the one and the only. And every single time I tell you to talk to somebody, make sure you just exhaust the dialogue. So you want to keep talking, keep talking, keep talking. Don't stop until she helps, because this is another quest that you're going to be able to do something cool. So make sure you follow along with that. And then from this spot, we're going to start heading a little west. All right. Right here, you're going to go to the main gate cross. And again, another NPC. You don't have to do most of these quests, to be honest with you. If you're just here to have fun and beat these bosses, go for it. But some of these quests do give you great rewards, and I'll maybe do another video about all of them or something. But for now, this is the key. Okay, there's one area in this game where if you do it, burning the tree is called, there's no coming back, and all these quests are undoable. But that's at the very end, so no big deal. But yeah, so from there, there's a boss that you're going to move up to and then take up. You can't get in this area. This is the end game stuff I told you. You don't want to touch that at all because that's going to kill your quest. So don't worry about that too much for now. But just remember that later. If you say, hey, I just want to beat the game, you can do that. But for me, I want to get all the rewards, so I'm just going to stay out here, and we're going to go up and continue the quest to unlock new graces, as well as getting to the first official boss that you're going to be battling in a second here. There are going to be enemies in these areas. Right now, you can't see them, but they do exist. I just happen to make sure that we give you guys a greater guide where you don't have to watch so much fights. All right. But just follow along. I'll keep quiet in between some of this. It's not rocket science. Pause the video if it's a little too fast and rewind. It's pretty straightforward. It's kind of a lot of hallway gameplay. Okay? It is an open world. There are places you can get lost in, but a lot of this stuff tends to be straightforward for the most part. I had some really interesting battles in these areas, so I'm sure you will too. It looks easy in this video. Shout out to Jay, but I'm telling you, ain't no joke out here. And one thing I can say is that I absolutely love the new weapons. They have some fun skills. I always talk. Here we go. And now we're at this new Castle Lord's chamber. And this is where the boss is. And this is going to be important. We're going to skip ahead after you beat the boss. Of course, we don't want you guys to see that. You can see it on your own. But from when you finish the boss, you can head right on outside. And again, there's always quest, but it's up to you to do those. Now, this right here is very important. The map is the number one thing for you to unlock, because that's how you're going to get things. So we're going to head up this way, and for some reason, something is broken. Powerful enchantment. That's going to be a little later for some quests. Okay, but yeah, so here we'll just show you a quest line that you need so that you can start going forward. All right, there's going to be a fight in here. Another fight for you. Interesting one, let's just say. After that, follow along. You should be fine. Again, you can literally mute this whole thing and just watch. Right? Pause it. Find where to go. Fight everybody. And then follow along after. Because there's a lot of fights. As you can see, the dead bodies everywhere. All right, so this place right here is a maze. Now, this is where it gets a little complicated, all right? And you just want to slow this video down. But this is for the quest, and this is one of the important quests. We're gonna, after we finish with him, we just want to fast travel, guys, because you don't have to continue roaming and doing all the extra stuff. If you're here to just progress in the story, just follow along, go back to this grace, and move through. Should be fine. And we're going to just continue progressing the storyline rather than everything else. Of course, getting the graces. You're going to be on the 4th floor when we finish this. And we're going to look for a lady named Freya. It's not from God of War, I promise. It's a different Freya. Elden Ring Freya. Down here, you're going to find an item that you need that you're going to give to one of the NPCs later. It's important later on, but just remember. And there goes Freya. By the way, if she's not there, you want to refresh fast travel back to that same Grace, and basically she'll pop up. Okay. After you talk with her, you're gonna go back to, this is kind of like a he said she said moment. We're gonna fast travel back to the gentleman we were discussing earlier, and you're just basically a messenger for them. And you're gonna give him the scroll that we just picked up, and then you're gonna tell him what Freya said. He said she said. And then you're gonna go back to Freya right after. Okay. So pretty basic. He gives you the letter, and now you go back. You're also going to get a shield from her in this next section, which is nice. All right. So after that, you're going to head back to the gentleman. He's not going to be there. That means you did the quest right. And that means you can continue going forward. All right, so the next NPC that you're going to want to try to deal with, you're going to go to the castle front and then head down. Remember, you have to go to the right locations. Full path cross. You probably already have all this unlocked, by the way. But again, another NPC you want to do a quest for. These are the important ones, in my opinion. There's more, and there's a lot of great items from them, and you can do those as well. All right, so the goal is to get to the bottom. And it's a little tricky because there's a path in between these two areas. Right there, as you can see, the darker area that'll let you get in. Then you have to go all the way down, which is kind of like a maze, big zigzag circle. Just follow along. You know what it is. Just follow the poison to the northwest. Avoid all these plants and creatures. And like I said, you had to go through these caves. It's a little tricky where to go, but you'll find it. You got another Grace. These are important because you can fast travel back and forth to find all the items you need. Personally, I just like unlocking every grave site in the game because it just makes life easier. And if you watch my videos on how to get certain things, which I have a ton of them, you'll be fine. Just some side notes. Man, I have some cool builds, and I would like your tips and tricks as well. Share your ideas with me when you watch those. I take good criticism. Happy to get better. It's all within the community. You guys know more than anybody. This type of video is easy to make. It's just straightforward. But sometimes in a build, you're missing one item, and somebody might be like, hey, try this. So, super cool. But yeah, this is probably one of the most beautiful areas that I absolutely loved because it's adding color to From Software. No offense, but they kind of been dull with all black all the time. It's like, no, you're not interesting because it's all darkness. Come on, man, add some life to it. But here we go. The map fragment, super critical, just makes life easier, especially for when I'm making this video. You guys to be able to know where to go. We want to try to head all the way to the bottom. There's a lot of stuff down here actually, but this one was interesting for me because I actually was beating a lot of bosses before I found this originally. So having Jay do the real presentation, that's important. Okay, right here. I just want to talk about this for a second. Remember when we broke that charm? You have to head over here first to unlock it. Like I showed you earlier, what we just did, which means you'll be able to get back to where we are now. Basically, where we are now unlocks seals for multiple places, and it's super important to unlock that first to progress. And then we're not going to be locked away in this area just because of that area. Does that make sense? Basically, if you follow the link, you'll be fine. And this is the new cave location. It's called the Coffin. It's a lot of different locations and things to go, but you know, let's keep it pushing. And by the way, this is not going to kill you. This is just a drop that they have in these games. And as you can see, we're getting deeper down a rabbit hole. This is very weird stuff and some interesting dialogue and situations that they make you do in this game. And it's hilarious. I was just thinking about something, and I'm actually not going to share it. It's so cool. I'm going to make a video about it. But right here, this is the main place. You're going to go northeast. And I remember my first time doing some of this. I'm only like 2 days behind on some of this, but was interesting. Okay, so right now this is a boss fight that I don't want to show you guys too much of, but just jump down, beat the boss, and you should be fine. This is where it's a little convoluted. Hopefully you're sticking with me on this one because it is nonsense. You don't want to say yes to this lady here because there's a certain plot line that needs to happen, and you want to basically make sure you do that quest line. You don't have to again, but personally for this video we want to give you the presentation of it so you can be good. So just leave, don't hit yes. Okay, and then now we're gonna head over to Theoler. I think that's his name. At the path cross right here. And so they're going to kind of sidetrack you here, but you want to basically get him to where you just was. You want to basically get a quest going with him, which he doesn't have right now. And so what's going to happen is you're going to go back and Theoler's going to be there. Okay. The reason that happened is because you tell him about the whereabouts, and that makes it so that he shows up. And this is the beginning of this quest. And you want to just repeat his dialogue nonstop. It's kind of ridiculous. This whole thing, I'm telling you. But basically, this next part, you want to drink the nectar. And you are going to die, but you can trust me, it is not death for real. Well, maybe it is in the video game, but you have to do this 4 times. Okay? So when you go to the 4th one, it'll go all black. And she'll start speaking and she'll say, Mikola, make Mikola stop. Once she does that, now that's when you know you're progressing on this quest. And you want to come back to Theoler, speak to him again and again. and then keep telling him the words from Saint Trina until he's freaking exhausted everything. And then you want to jerk. And right now, you're about to get into a fight. So after you fight, it's a quick fight. You're going to get Saint Trina's smile. You head back. And then this is the final time, hopefully, when you say you must kill Mikola, grant him forgiveness. It's pretty much game over. As you can see, keep talking to our buddy down here, the weirdo, until he's saying, ah. If he doesn't say, I'll just fast travel and start it up again until he's saying, ah. And you got it done. And now he's going to be, that quest line is done. So you already have another quest line. And then now we're going to go ahead and uncover the last piece of the map and kind of show you what to do from here. From the high road side grace where we went to earlier, we're going to go around, up and in, and then around. It's kind of, like I said, a bunch of caves. The way they designed this game, it's pretty much you go in a cave, you go around, you go down, or you go up. And so it's kind of vertical, which is awesome, by the way. But a little complicated because some places are harder to find, but you're just going to follow along with all this. You should be good. So far, the game's been great. Being high level makes it so much easier. It actually takes away some of the challenge, to be honest with you. And, you know, that video I made hopefully helps y'all enjoy it. Because now for me, it's all about testing builds and I'm just having fun. And there's a boss or two that's kind of difficult, but good enough. I'm good enough. And there it is. And now we got one more section to clear. We just want to kind of rush through these key things so you can go back and forth at any point. All right. So from the main gate is going to be the way you get over there. You can see how weird they made these maps where it's kind of like, oh, you have to go through here to get over there. This is going to be a very tricky path. And it's basically in and out, up and down, get to a waterfall, and you're good to go. There's going to be a ladder right over here. There's going to be a lot of enemies, by the way. So make sure you kill them so you won't have to deal with it. It makes life easier. I promise. Take your time. Don't try to rush. You get this painting because there's a separate quest, which we're not doing right now, but you want that. And then the coffin is how you fast travel, if you remember the base game. And so that base pretty much opens up the map for you to the area where we can start descending south. But yeah, man, I've been enjoying the boss fights. There's a couple that are like, wow, this is extreme, and then the rest are smooth. They're just decent. Wonder what your guys' thoughts are on the DLC. I'm sure you're loving it. If you're watching this whole video, it's because you love it and you just want an easier experience. And now this is a little tricky. You want to drop down here, be very careful. But the more you have that smooth experience, you're good to go. Then we're going to keep forward going south from that spot that we just dropped. It's kind of tricky. Like I said, just remember to pause and rewind. After we go straight down here to the southeast, drop again, and then now we're finally the door where we get in and start getting through certain areas. I don't know what it is. It's about caves sometimes. I have some trouble Um, guess it's just the closed off areas. But here you're gonna find the boss within this. There's literally no other way to go other than finding the boss. But from there, we're gonna rotate down. We want to get this map cleared out. There is no horses, so you're just gonna walk a lot of walking. And there's madness enemies in here who are going to try to destroy you. Just stay away from them as much as possible. We're going east on this one, but I'll tell you that there is a great boss on the west. So we have to go southeast, head down, and then hit that map. It's pretty straightforward, but there's mountains on both sides, so it's very narrow for the most part. But again, these enemies that are here are going to be relentless. So if you're watching this while you play, don't get mad at me for the enemies. Blame some from soft. All right, cleared out the whole game now, and you're ready to actually make it happen. By this time, you should be upgraded decently because I have that video for all the fragments. And then now you're gonna head back to the second floor, and this is where we'll go to get to the boss fight. This is one of the hardest boss fights for me. I played this as my first boss. I think it was my first or second boss in the game. I don't know what I was thinking. I was just roaming this castle, found my way here, and it was insane. But yeah, once you hit this lever, you're gonna get some very cool platforming. Follow along with that. But yeah, this boss that we're about to fight, I will tell you, make sure you go do the 50 fragments that, or I'm sorry, you'll probably do like 40 of them. You're gonna be level 17 before you have to fight him. You can destroy him very easily if you are. I beat him at like level 3 Scadutree blessings. So unfortunately, I had a hard time. But yeah, this piece right here is how you're gonna burn the Scadutree, but you don't want to do that part of the mission that I talked about earlier until the very end, and we'll get there. For now, we're gonna just head through, following this path. So I just turned that lift to activate it to go down, and then we're gonna just head there, but manually because that lift was broken. Gonna head to the west ramp and then get in through the door, go to the backside. And okay, more graces to unlock, basically helping you get closer to the boss fights. Again, this is all for the boss. My reminder is I had the map in the beginning where you could just look at that and figure out where to go. Okay, that's all you really need to do. Don't worry so much about all this. Take a left right here. You could just drop straight down. It'll be fine. But you want to go southeast through the hole. Dropping down this hole is important. There's a lot of stuff in this area, very cool stuff, boss fights and all that. But we're going for the progression here, guys. And this is a little tricky, so you might want to rewind and refollow it. This was probably the longest part for me to find where to go. There was so many areas, and I just spent a lot of hours on my personal account. All right, from here, we're going to head through. You want to be careful with the fire giant. He does blast, the giant blast that he does. But as long as you're fast enough, he'll end up shooting away from you because he's a little slow. You basically want to go straight towards him to the south, but avoid him if you have to go all the way around him or whatever you got to do. Or if you want to just beat him, I showed a video on how to beat those guys. It's pretty basic, but it works. Again, another little maze type of thing. Not too complicated. Some of this is hallway based, easy. There we go. We're almost there, folks. Once we start get out of the lift, we're heading north. And we're gonna fight another boss soon. And again, don't do this path unless you finished all my other tutorial for all of the fragments, because some of these bosses are tough. I'm not gonna say which one's which, but yeah. So this is very critical, and I'm kind of probably gonna pause it. Let me pause it. I'm gonna get there and pause it because you guys got to know that this is a point of no return. Let's just say I'm gonna pause it right here. Do not hit the tree if you're watching this video. I repeat, do not hit the tree. Make sure that you do all the side quests that you want, unlock everything that you want with the side quests. The way this game works, and we're gonna go back into the map for a second here, and I want to showcase this very quickly again. In the end of the day, the way this game works is I can skip a lot of regular bosses and then do the main bosses. And then also I can skip quests. The quests are going to give me amazing rewards. So do I want to go through all the process that I'm talking about? The areas that you should go to first, things you can do to unlock different areas, 5, 6, 7, you know, like what should we do? How should we go about that? Question is, it's up to you on what you want to miss out on. So before you hit this tree, which I'm not going to do right now, but I just wanted to show you and give you guys the rundown so you can know how that works. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, so now you're going to be heading to this tree. Go ahead, hit it, and you're basically a point of no return, unlocking the last area. It is the main area of the game, and it's super critical for you to know this specific spot, okay, when it comes to end game. So from this very point, there's a lot of good stuff in this area. But basically, we're just going to hit the graces to make this straight up progression rather than showcasing what else is in there and all that good stuff. But yeah, you made it in. And then now I'll show you to the next grace. I am going to make a video about this area by itself, most likely, just because it's like the final area, very important area. So probably going to do a full guide on that. Again, just follow along. I'm trying to give you guys a little break. You can pause and rewind and do what you have to do. A lot of different areas to go to, but this is the main path to get the graces so that you can get to the final boss. All about boss progression in this video. And again, this isn't the only way to play the game. I myself on my personal, instead of this, is basically taking our time and basically gonna do as many quests as I could and then get to the final boss. But yeah, so this is a very cool spot. Right now, you're about to get to the boss fight. And remember, I told you if you do your quest for a bunch of NPCs, you can actually use them for the final boss, 2 bosses. And so that's how you do this here. You're going to be able to just call them in, have them as backup. Just makes life easier. So make sure you do that. And here you want to talk to the gentleman. Of course, remember that he was somebody you had a quest with. Last grace. And this is the last scenario here. You do have summons you can call in to beat this final boss with. The funny character here who was a little weird. And there we go. And that's pretty much the rundown for you guys. And you can do the same thing on your playthrough. Before I go, I do want to just kind of point out a couple of things and hopefully get you guys locked in. This map, again, main thing is boss progression. There's certain bosses you got to beat to be able to get to other areas and continue that. It is a regular open world where you can go through most of the map. I pretty much can go through this whole map except this last spot that says 16 because you have to open up that seal. But you can do everything else in the map however you want, completing the quest and basically unlocking everything you need. And you should be good to go from there. All right. That's pretty much the rundown. Outside of that, I hope y'all enjoyed it. It's been a fun game for me, and that's why I'm sharing my experience with you guys. I'm gonna do some thought breakdowns and review on this DLC because I do think there's a lot to talk about. But I hope y'all enjoyed it. Make sure you check out that giveaway information. Just comment for a chance to win, and then you're locked in. Other than that, I do have some cool videos on how to make the build proper. All right, check that out. Peace.